Think twice before upgrading. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 22 of the Showerpodcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and today's topic, it's going to be about upgrades and why I believe that not upgrading is a way better decision and it will end up making you feeling better than just constantly upgrading your stuff. But of course, this is my opinion, so feel free to let me know in the comment why you agree or don't. And as always, it's always a pleasure to see a like, a subscribe, a comment. Also, if you're on Spotify, leave a review. Again, anything that you feel like doing, go ahead. So let me give you a bit of a background, as usual, on why I believe, let's say, this is the case. And when I was younger, I used to play on my laptop, and let's say it wasn't any high-end or anything special. It had a standard small 60 hertz screen. I will try to explain it in a very non-nerdy way, but let's say every second you would be able to see at maximum 60 frames. And the more frames you have, the smoother the image looks, okay? So I was used to that, and that was my baseline. I was super happy with it, and I had no issue with nothing else. Down the line, I bought, let's say, an external monitor, and that monitor had a higher refresh rate. So I went from 40 to 144. For anybody that hasn't experienced that, I can guarantee you that if you see them side by side, the difference is huge. Like immense. You would be able to clearly point to which one of the others you would prefer. You'd always go for the 144. Bigger number usually means that it is better. But what, let's say, triggered me is that, I used that monitor for years and years. And down the line, though, I had to revert back to using just my laptop. And I had some free time, so I tried to play one of the games that I used to play. And when I went back and played, I was not enjoying the game. My enjoyment was now tightly coupled also with the more luxury experience that I had. So I didn't necessarily, I obviously liked the game by itself, but one of the reasons that made me play and go with it was the fact that I now had a very pleasant experience and the tools to go with it. So let's say my focus shifted from just enjoying the game with any tools that I had to now willing to play the game only if I had the necessary tools. Because indeed, I wasn't enjoying it. My mouse wasn't that great. The refresh rate was lower, and it got me thinking. Why this change? How did I go from I would do anything at play at any condition to I will do it only if I have these things? And this is clearly expandable to anything, let's say, in your life. Be it a new phone, a new car, a new apartment, a new job. We tend to, let's say, not appreciate so much, not understand what we actually have once we move to something else. And that can be both positive and negative. But what I see, and usually what happens, is that we don't realize what we have until we have it. And the moment that we get something better, it's practically impossible to step back. And this specific step, so this specific moment in which once you have done the upgrade, or even worse, because this is the problem, at least if you upgrade, you will have the new thing. So you have, let's say, no real reason, unless something happens, to go back. But what if, I like that this what if always happens, but let's say I'm here to make myself think and also maybe make you think along with me. But what if you're just shown something nice? What if you go to a friend and he has this beautiful monitor and you play on it and you're like, oh my God, this is so much better. but you cannot afford it. Or in your current situation, you just cannot have that. How does it feel now going back to your old thing and trying to play along, trying to act as you have seen nothing better, and that the thing that 1 hour before was just fine for you now suddenly is not enough? And I genuinely believe, and it's something that I try myself to, let's say, not do too much, is to expose myself to things that right now are not achievable. Expose myself to stuff that down the line, or again, in the near future, will hinder my capability of appreciating the stuff that I have. So when I said at the beginning, think twice before upgrading, it's in the sense that once you do that, you will not be able to go back. And if for any reason you'll have to, the same step that you did forward, okay, so going from the old stuff to the new one, will be completely, let's say, harder to do from the new stuff to the back thing. And again, I would be very curious to know if something similar happened to you, or if you think that this is just something very easy to do. But I could think of so many other options. For example, for me, like when I was at home with my parents, my mom is a great cooker, and she was making amazing dishes. And when I had to move by myself, even though I have to confess, I'm decent, if not pretty good at cooking, or so say the people that have tried my food. But at the same time, I didn't have the same thing. And now I am lucky enough that this is something at which you can go back. So when I visit, I get to experience that and remember how nice it was. But at the same time, every time that I have, or I try to do something that she used to do, I'm like, it's not the same. It's not the best thing. Or I don't know, if you're used to drive an old car and then you try something new, you know, you go for a test ride, or you're just with some friends, you enter that car and you're like, oh my God, this is insane. How can I still stick to the old thing that I have? And the problem is that this creates frustration. This creates, let's say, dissatisfaction, and in the end, unhappiness. So the message that maybe I want to share is be careful and mindful of your exposure to this kind of stuff. Try to be, let's say, selective with the stuff that you experience. And always remember that when you do it, you are, let's say, exposing yourself to the risk that once you go back home, you'll not be happy as you were before doing that thing. Even though the moment itself was nice, the consequences are not that nice as you would have imagined, or you didn't even think of. That's the scary part. Anyway, this was episode 22 of the Shower Podcast. Thank you for listening, and see you at the next one.